Yes, yeah.
You met Fred, haven't you?
I have. He's lovely. He manages to smile at me, even though sometimes I think it might be a bit of wind.
It doesn't smile at me, so I imagine it is.
Well, there you go.
It's all pretty professional, me and Fred.
He is. He looks like a stickler. Is he a bit of a stickler?
No, he's not a stickler. He's very professional.
We love it. Anyway, back to you, Alfie. Welcome back to October Red. Talk to us about this show and the development of Dazn. So much has happened since we last spoke.
I know. It was a long time ago, I think we last met. We've obviously seen each other at various events.
And you've run off
And I've run off.
and scowled at me.
I've often gotten... No
The
scale.
Misfits. Do you remember? You was like, told ya.
Sorry about that. So this show is going to be great. I mean, look, I was up there, and there's the main event in itself is going to be outstanding with Dalton Smith and Jose Cepeda. Cepeda's obviously an incredibly talented and well-established pro. Dalton is, in my opinion, one of the rising stars of British boxing, has been for a long time, and this is his opportunity to introduce himself on the world stage. However, that said, obviously, Sandy Ryan, Terry Harper, that got quite tense up there. And the same with Campbell Hatton as well, him stepping up again, obviously a belt on the line for him. But it's an amazing undercard and a great show generally. I'm very excited to watch, yeah.
What I like about, obviously, the Dazn, you came in, what is it, about 5 years ago? Well, it signed up with Eddie about 4 years ago now, is it? Coming up to 4 years. The model for the app. I can talk to you all day about competition, but how does it feel when you're pioneering the sport in boxing on like the virtual apps? What does it feel like to be at the Pinnacle where you've now got Amazon coming in, you've got Netflix coming in? Talk to us about being a pioneer.
Well, we're incredibly proud. It obviously reaffirms our vision that we had over a decade ago, where we launched in multiple other markets before we explored boxing, as you say, kind of 6 years ago now. And it's fantastic. I was just speaking to somebody just then saying that it's satisfying to see these obviously established huge streaming services demonstrating and identifying that there's an opportunity to grow within sport and boxing in particular. So for us, it's amazing. We're committed on our vision and we're delivering against that. We're in a fantastic period at the moment in boxing, but just generally in sport and in I suppose entertainment, generally speaking. Obviously, there's a lot more than just live sport on our platform, which we're investing in heavily. So it's a great time. It's a great time for the consumer, and it's a great time for us in the sports streaming space.
Dealing with multiple boxing promoters, I mean, like I said, we can touch on other sports, but I'm going to keep it to boxing. You started off with Matchroom. We've now had the likes of Golden Boy. Obviously, we've got the Misfit side to it. Also, we're dealing with like Frank Warren over in Saudi. Talk to us about that multi-partnership working and how that obviously develops Dazn. But what's it like working with all the different promoters?
It's brilliant. We work with 18 promoters. And obviously
slightly out then.
No, it's just a few off. Yeah, I mean.
Wow, 18.
18 regularly, and obviously we often take fights with multiple other promoters if they make sense for the platform. So it's kind of normal for us, I suppose. It's part of our philosophy. You can't be too tunnel vision when you're trying to grow rapidly, which we are, and we're doing it very successfully. And I truly believe that aside from passion and investment in the sport, a big part of doing that is collaboration and having an open mind to work with multiple people. It's not just lip service when I say that we need to work with people to make things happen. Of course, you need to do that. And yeah, I mean, to answer your question around what's it like working with all those promoters, it's incredible. Obviously, everyone has first and foremost a different roster, different strategy for their fighters, but ultimately everyone's incredibly passionate about the sport, which we are also. So it's a very enjoyable experience. Yeah.
When you mention what is good for Dazn, your model, obviously for the success of your business, of the app, of growth, because that is very important. What is it that Dazn looks out for? I know the obvious is eyes, but we've got problems, which Frank Warren quite openly said the other day, with piracy, which affects the numbers. So how would you then focus on, okay, what is good for us and how are we going to combat things like piracy? I guess it's going to be nigh on impossible. Reduce it then. Well, that's fair.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are multiple ways in which you do that, and we work on all of them. You rightfully say it's unfortunately it's an issue. It's not a new issue, to be
No.
clear. It's been there since I can remember watching TV myself, not myself personally, but it's always been around. People, illegally streaming content, premium content in particular. One very simple way for us to combat that is we offer viewing experiences for the customers behind, subscribers that you can't get via a pirate stream. In-app betting, for example, watch party experiences, live polls, fan zones, merchandise in real time in feed that you can't get just from watching, from watching an illegal stream. So number one, it's creating a better viewing experience than just in boxing instance, using a boxing analogy from the first to last bell. It's dressing it and wrapping the whole event in much more than just the sport itself, which is obviously the most important thing why people are there. But trying to diversify the viewing experience for us is so important. That's number one. And also technology. We're investing a hell of a lot in the technology. We've got, we've won awards last year. It's probably a little bit boring for this channel, but we've won awards for anti-piracy tech over the last 12 months. And we've invested heavily in our team because we want to, obviously commercially for us, it's important that we tackle that. But equally, it's we truly believe that people are missing out by not enjoying our service and our best-in-class broadcast and production in the way that it's meant to be consumed, right?
One of the things that I don't know if this is something that you'd be open to doing. Obviously, you've got Before the Bell. That's usually on YouTube, the free stream. But what about, say, for example, people that have got the app or that maybe subscribe to YouTube, just putting out like maybe, I don't know, a minute of the actual pay-per-view fight to entice people in to say, look, there's an option now and half price on the subscription and half price for whatever. Like just ways to like entice people to think, I want to watch that. But it's that immediate, when you do sales based on like impulsive behavior, because we are quite impulsive. So have you thought about any strategies around that, or?
Yeah.
And this might be boring, but I'm interested in sales and marketing. So.
Well, my job is obviously marketing, right? So yes, we have. we often run, offers.
In the offer.
Various offers to entice new audiences, but also reward the loyalty of our existing customers as well. And that's incredibly important to us. We obviously tease and prompt people that the pay-per-view window is starting, and a fundamental strategy to drive people in to watch the premium, should we say, in kind of pay-per-view or subscription shows is to give them, as you say, the prelims or the undercards for free and transition them over to the platform. So it's incredibly important to us to continue to do that. We don't get to where we want to get to in terms of our business objectives if we don't bring in more audiences. We've done a very good job, candidly, globally, with kind of bringing in boxing fans to our platform and moving them from other places to us. Success now for us to really grow to the levels that we expect is to turn people who are traditionally called casual fans into more frequent fans, and by doing that you can't instantly tie them into a long-term subscription. You're going to need to talk to them in various ways, introduce yourself, which I think we do very well on social media, and present value, which I also think we do well. And outside of just a regular run of shows, which we're in at the moment, it's unbelievable value. The best-in-class broadcast, the best promoters, every promoter in the world, basically. It makes our proposition unrivaled, and it's kind of a big philosophy for us.
One of the things that I'm interested in is probably growth statistics from when you obviously first started and you had like the tunnel vision to start off with. And we look about growth over the years where you've started to introduce other promoters, especially the promoters overseas, the US promoters. How has that worked in the growth with Dazn? And when you set those targets, say, for example, you've had massive growth, do you expect it to like stagnate for a bit? And then how do you continue to push forward to continue like more growth? We get greedy, right?
We do get greedy. We're not content with just, we're an ambitious business. We haven't got to where we have in less than a decade by being complacent or content with just the base level. We rarely rest on the successes that we have. We're always looking to the next thing. We do that within sports like boxing, but in the UK business, we have other sports. We obviously have UEFA Women's Champions League. We have Professional Fighters League, PFL.
Yes.
Which is doing fantastically well for us. We've just signed Live Golf on our platform for a year in the UK. And of course, in the US, we have tons of other kind of global properties as well, right? Which we have access to. So You can see by the way in which we acquire rights in the markets that I work on, the kind of US, UK, and global business. But the way in which we're trying to acquire rights is a testament to our growth strategy. And the 18 plus promoters that I said we work with within boxing, again, means that we have fights every single week. So we're not going to slow down. We're going to continue to go. We're doing incredibly well in boxing, and our ambition is to continue to do that and continue to grow our multi-sport offering.
Aggressive tactics you talk about, obviously tapping into other sports, and this might be a bit controversial. Cricket is a massive sport in the UK. So much so, if you do naughty things in cricket, you can end up in jail. So having that type of client base, aggressive tactics to maybe push the audience that way, is that something that you consider as well, possible like cricket?
Yeah. We did a deal last year for IPL cricket in the UK. Again, did very well for us. It was a kind of a last minute deal that we saw the opportunity and decided to take it. Again, as I say, that did very strong numbers for us. It's a competitive sport, and rights are obviously expensive, right? So they need to make sense for us commercially. Okay. But to answer your question specifically, I mean, absolutely no problem with bringing cricket onto our platform as well. It just needs to make sense to us.
Alfie Sharman, the man that literally leaves no stone unturned. I'm getting the evils from his assistant, so we've got to cut this short. But that's it for today, guys. Alfie Sharman, Dazn.
Great to see you. Thank you very much.
People say I'm toxic, and honestly, I don't care.